All right, and we're back. I have finally diced about a tablespoon and a half of shallots. Smells wonderful. And the only thing I'm going to do with this now is maybe add, I want them to get most of the harshness. Onions and garlic are harsh unless you cook them first. Gonna add a little bit of pepper to that. I need very little else once the eggs are done, or the egg substitute. I should say that as a member of the Church of Christ of the Apostolic Faith, aka CCAF, our pastor, under his leadership, we're doing about 30 days of consecration, which is everything. We clean our bodies out, we clean our spirits out, our minds, our thoughts. We draw into God things of God through prayer and fasting, meditating on His Word, studying His Word. We watch very little television. It is permitted that we can watch, if we care to, maybe local news or PBS stations, which are educational, is better for us. You don't hear my TV in the background. I've not had it on today. And I have not had, as I should have by now, had a lot of water. That's where I need to improve. But quickly, before I pour the egg mixture into the shallots, it's going pretty quickly, and it's a nonstick pan, which is what I wanted to share with you. But I also had said to several of you, maybe I need to get a real plate. I want to show you what tofu is like when you buy it. This is extra firm tofu, and there's a good deal of water in there. I don't really know what the fluid is that they use, but I wanted to show you the texture of the tofu straight from the store. I bought this just so I could demonstrate, but I've actually already bought tofu in its firm state. This is extra firm and it's organic, to show you the difference in the textures and why I do that. So I get a block like this. You can cut it up first and then freeze it. You could put it in some vegetable stock and then freeze it. That way it absorbs all of that flavor. This is the texture of the tofu when you buy the extra firm, just to give you a demo. So this is as firm, this is extra firm as it gets. But then this block that I have here was purchased several days ago. I froze it. I thawed it out just the other day. I put it in some paper towel to absorb the extra water. And just to demonstrate to you the difference in the texture once it's been frozen and thawed. So I'll put it down and slice through it. I've got to push a little harder, and you will see it's not as pliable. And it's got a very bouncy, chewy texture to it. Well, this is a wonderful thing to add to your stir fries. And like we said, we're not doing fried food, no fried chicken, no fried potatoes, no French fries, no potato chips, no junk, no sugar. Well, I can't do sugar. I am diabetic. So some of these things come very easy to me. But this is going to be cubed, for instance. Don't worry about me. I'm pretty good with a knife. Been doing it for a long time. You can cube this and put this not only in your stir fries as a meat replacement, especially if it's been flavored with some bouillon or stock. This is going to be added to water. I like the jar because I can make it the concentration that I want. When you buy stock, it tends to be salty. You pour it out, it's very thin, very liquid, but I can make my stock the way I want. I can add things to it. But this is the texture, which is really like a piece of chicken, which is good for stir fries. I'm also going to be making, if you've ever gone to Bibimbap, some people call it bibimbap. It's a place that you go in, you choose a protein, you choose whether you want rice. They usually have a purple rice, or you want yam noodles. You can buy that, and then you get all of these condiments put on top, starting with some sort of flavored meat, chicken or beef, and then you get cabbage, corn, all sorts of things. Well, I've got a lot of vegetables that I have pictured If you go down on my page, you'll see some of the things that I bought. Daikon radish, um, spinach. I've got Brussels sprouts. I've got yams. I've got so many nice vegetables to make that kind of a bowl and or make stir fries. Cabbage sliced with onions, sauteed with just a little bit of oil. And this time, because you're not in an Oriental restaurant, you maybe need to put a lid on it so that it sweats the vegetables, brings out the juice, therefore having not to use as much oil. So my mushrooms are cooking. I'm going to be adding my pasta, and then I'm going to take some olive oil. I'm going to add it to my blender with some of the pesto sauce. The other requirement would be some, for me, cooked garlic, just 2 cloves. Would be fresh basil if I had it. And the other thing would be, excuse my back, the other thing would be Parmesan cheese. Well, this is out for the next 30 days. And this is really not that healthy. It can sit on the shelf for I don't know how long. Sometimes I keep it in the refrigerator, but there's no room. My refrigerator shelves are not that tall. But long story short, what I have decided to replace, not to put into the pesto, but to toast this on a dry flame. Get it just, this is panko breadcrumbs. And there's no egg. This is not your typical bread. This is just like a cracker crumb. Really good if you're coating chicken or shrimp, as you see there. This is what I'm going to sprinkle on top of the pasta once it's done. So I'm going to get the pasta drained. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of olive oil over it just to get it nice and spreadable for the pesto. I'm going to add a little bit, not quite half a jar of pesto into my blender with some olive oil, some spinach leaves, a little water from the pasta, and season to taste. I think I'm going to add some of this to the water. So not only will it be good pasta water, but it's going to be flavored water because I'm going to add vegetable stock. Therefore, when my pasta comes out, it will be flavored with this. So what we're looking for when we can't have meat, the thing we're looking for is flavor. Now, to replace, because I'm not going to use this tofu in pasta, I prefer it in stir fries. I don't want tofu, and really tofu doesn't have a flavor, which is why it's a good condiment because it absorbs the flavor of what you're making. But I recently did some candy caramel. I did some turtles, I did some apples. I roasted some cashews. I have also some walnuts over there, some pecans. And after everything is done, I'm hoping I can find it so I can let you guys go. My very favorite nut in the whole wide world, very expensive though, are pine nuts. So like in the same small skillet, I'm gonna put them in a dry pan, sprinkle them in there, shake it around just a little bit, keep it moving because they'll easily burn. Nuts have a lot of oil in them. But after the pasta's all done, it's all mixed together, I'm gonna sprinkle some panko on and some toasted pine nuts, and we'll have dinner. Deacon Good and I are both participating in consecration. He's away from the house right now, but when he comes back, I'll make him some of the eggs if he wants them and serve them up. So the pan is back on the burner. It'll be just a few moments before it's warm again. I have not used this brand before, so we will see what it looks like. I'll make sure that I lift my skillet so that you can see it. The last ones I had, once I poured them in, they look just like scrambled eggs. Once you've gotten the egg into your bowl and a fork and beat it, this is what the other jar I had looks like. So we will see. The fire is still on. Now I'm gonna put a lid on my mushrooms because I need them to cook a while. And in just a little while, remember, I'm going to add some flavoring. And I'll get a spoon and I'll taste it. I'll make sure that it's got some flavor, but not too much. I've got another jar of this because I think with all of my stir frying, I'm gonna be using a lot of this. For a whole month, I'm gonna need it. In my BB Bop bowl, as opposed to raw tuna, because you got to get really good tuna grade. Not knowing when I'm going to do it, I stayed away from that. So I'm going to drain this salmon. This is pink salmon. I prefer red sockeye, but I didn't see any. It's a lot more expensive. So I'm going to put a little bunch of this in our BB-Bop bowls. Brian is not, he doesn't go, I don't think I've ever seen him eat a BB-Bop bowl. But there's going to be some new taste experiences for him, and I hope that he enjoys them the way that I do, because I will be honest with you, I eat healthy most of the time. Now, I'm going to lift this so that you can see it, and this is just for me. That's not much at all. And as I poured it in, you heard it, just like eggs. I'm going to stir that around, and I'm going to place it back onto the burner just to keep it cooking. And let's see, what is in this actually? I'll be honest with you, I didn't read this time. I just saw it, was glad to see it. It's water. It's mung bean protein. It is canola oil, contains less than 2% of carrot extractions, dehydrated onion, so there's some flavor in there. Potassium, I sure need that. A little bit of salt, according to this, and a little teeny bit of tapioca. I bought tapioca flour the other day because tapioca is what makes tapioca flour and rice flour make things. As you can see, I used it because I demoed it on Facebook. Go down my page, you'll see it. I demoed some Brazilian cheese bread. You put that in a blender, this in a blender with some eggs, some milk, some water, and oil, and a big cup of cheese, grated cheese. And then you put them in the oven, and they puffed up. They were crunchy outside, real chewy inside. So it is just what it says. Tapioca is very chewy, as you know. So tapioca flour is a good thing to have, and so is rice flour. There, you guys, are my eggs. They look like scrambled eggs, right? That's more than enough for me. I'll get myself maybe a cracker or a grapefruit. If you haven't thought about it, you know grapefruit is an ideal breakfast food. You may want to go get yourself a bag of ruby red grapefruit, and you're going to not only stave the sugar tooth, the sweet tooth, but you're also going to add some very good fiber, some very good acid into your body. It's just good for you. So here we are. I'll do a little taste. I don't mind doing that to see what these taste like. My pan could have been a little less sticky, which is what it usually is. I don't know what I've done in this pan, but I'll blow just a little bit of this. Tastes like scrambled eggs to me. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this demo. I will come back once I've made my pesto. Remember, I'm going to add maybe about a tablespoon of oil, some pesto sauce, a little bit of the pasta water into that as well. And then I am going to add some of the cooked garlic, maybe even a little bit of this shallot in there with some spinach leaves. And once the pasta comes out, I'm going to pour that sauce over it. I'm going to sprinkle it with some panko, and they will have nuts inside of the blender. And then I'm going to toast a little bit of these pine nuts and sprinkle them over the top. So anyway, I hope I haven't confused everybody. I'll get better with a few days. All right, God bless you. I hope you're doing well. Bye-bye.